Breaking news, breaking news. I got an update for you on the guy that got his arm shot off, or near about shot off, when he tried to go in there and rob this 80-year-old store owner. Ain't got no business doing nothing like that, but these thugs, they're out of control. They think that everybody just needs to give them what they want. I don't know. But anyhow, I got an update for you. That local news station that did the story on it said that, old buddy had a heart attack after this. And but he was going to be all right. And once he got better, he agreed to do a little interview with them. And that's what he did. He's a man of his word. And he's 80 years old, but he's got the mind of a teenager, it seems like. He's got a lot of wisdom. He makes sense with what he says. And it's a good little interview. It's not very long. And I wanted to bring it to y'all, because you never know what's outside your front door. And we're starting to see more people not take the law in their own hands. I'm not saying that. But they're defending themselves and they're defending their property. And that's the way it should be. Anyhow, I want to bring this to you. Y'all check it out.
Well, Marla, Alex, I can... Community is just absolutely in such support of this gentleman here. Craig Cope, thank you so much for joining us. Now, we'll start right away because we don't have a lot of time, but when this happened to you on Sunday and you saw them coming in that door with that weapon that appeared to be an AR-15, what were your thoughts?
There wasn't much time to think about it. It was just the guy pointed the gun directly at me. Then it's him or me.
You acted right away. Frankly, if it had been me, I'd probably be dead. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd freeze, but you knew.
Yeah, I am not going to give him the chance. I mean, if I recognize the weapon, that's a semi-automatic gun. Fast you can pull the trigger. Maybe someone convert it to automatic. It's equivalent of a machine gun. I'm not going to let him get the first shot off at that point.
The reaction, not just here in Norco, but in Southern California, has been incredible. People and business owners who say, we are so tired of this crime wave. We are so glad that you defended your business.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I did anything that somebody else wouldn't have done, but two things. We need more people to stand up, but more than that, probably get on the wrong side of some people here, but the politicians, there's people out there that are not the best of people. There's people that choose to be burglars. There's people that choose to be armed robbers. And I had one guy one time, he told me specifically he was a burglar. I mean, I had him in handcuffs. He was going to jail, and he's talking to me. He's a burglar. He says, that's what I do. He says, I wait till it gets dark and I go burglarize places. So these people that can continually get let out now, it's been really bad the last year. Those people, the majority of them, are going to go right back to what they used to do. So the crime rate is escalating. It's going to continue to escalate until they start putting the people away that are doing the bad things. And as far as here and my place, it wouldn't have done any good to call the local sheriffs. They can't get here that quick. This whole thing, from the time I saw him coming around the side of the building to coming in the door, and what happened, 10 seconds. The actual thing from when he pointed his gun at me, half, 3/4 of a second, because I'm not waiting. When you point that gun directly at me and you're that close to me and I see what you're carrying, I'm not waiting.
Now, you saw them in the parking lot, and the first tip-off was when he put his mask over his face?
First tip-off, I saw him through the front door drive into this parking lot. But they didn't park where a normal person would park. So that was a red flag. Then they parked on the side of the building where they're basically out of sight. That was the second red flag. When I looked and saw them getting out of the vehicle, they got gloves, masks, a weapon. That just solidified the deal for me. I knew what was coming.
Now, right after the shooting, you got sick. You had a heart attack. How are you doing?
As far as I know, I'm doing better. I'm doing a lot better than I was that night.
It was traumatic.
Yeah, I don't know what caused it. maybe I'm just old.
Well, you're 80 years old, and we're all in shock and just amazed at how you reacted in such an intense moment with that man walking in with that weapon. What's your advice to business owners who are just so fed up with this crime?
Okay, yeah, you can do what I did, but what you really need to do is put some pressure on the politicians, because they got no clue what's really going on out here in the real world. I could start naming names, but there's a whole lot of them that are creating major problems for business owners, but for local law enforcement, they're creating problems for them. I'm sure they go out and risk their lives taking people into custody to see them get let out with no bail. And a lot of these people are career criminals. I'm not talking about the guy that goofed up one time, made one mistake. I'm talking about the career criminals. They're career criminals. They need to be locked up.
So if this were to happen again, you would not hesitate?
No.
Your message to the bad guys?
This isn't a good place to pick.
Yeah, that's right. This isn't a good place to pick. So anybody thinking about it, not a good idea. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and I'm so glad that you're doing so much better. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Marla, Alex, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Gina, one question for him. Was he in the military? Does he have much experience with shooting? How is he such a good shot?
Alex is asking, how are you such a good shot? Were you in the military? Do you have experience?
When I was a kid, when I was 10, I had a gun, and I grew up in Illinois. We had a lot of small game, squirrels, rabbits, quail. I put a lot of food on the table on a regular basis, and I had a single shot, so ammunition was expensive when I had to buy it myself. 50 cents was a lot of money, and you don't want to miss. You single shot, don't miss.
Yeah.
So it still holds true. Don't
Well,
miss.
there you go. I tell you, under pressure with that kind of fear, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so glad you're doing well. And the suspects, they were busted. The one who was shot in the arm, he's lucky he's alive, actually. Don't you think?
Right.
Yeah, he will be arrested once he gets out of the hospital. Alex? Marla?
Well, we're so glad that Craig is well enough to, be back at work and be with us tonight and take the time out to talk to you, Gina. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Now that's a sport model right there, ain't it? Yeah, 80 years old and got a sharp mind and makes sense with everything he said. Yeah, he didn't have but just a second or two to decide what he was going to do. And old buddy, he put that mask on and thought he was going to come in there and strong arm him and take what he had. Old buddy said, I ain't going to put up with that bull crap. He did the right thing. Yes, he did. And I hear people referring to it as being like the Wild Wild West days. But the only time I hear that is when they want to say something about the people, the homeowners or the store owners shooting back at the thugs and defending themselves, defending their property. Well, you know what? It might be like the Wild Wild West now, because the police don't get there in time. And then when the police do get there and do ever lock them up, your doggone judge is just going to turn them right back loose. Catch and release, catch and release. That's what we call fishing down here, which we never did that too much. The only time we would release a fish is if we caught an old garfish or something that wasn't worth eating. We'd catch it, not on purpose, but then we'd release it, catch and release. That's exactly what they're doing with these criminals most of the times. Catch and release, catch and release. They don't see no, well, hey, it's like this. I'm just going to get right back out, and then I won't show up to court again. When I do got to go to court, they ain't going to do nothing to me, so I'm just going to keep on doing it, and they're going to get worse and worse, because that's what they're doing. They're getting worse and worse with their crimes. Catch and release, catch and release. Something needs to be done with this justice system, because there just ain't no justice in it. Look here, I wanted to bring y'all that update. I told you I would, and I try to keep my word here at Chickabone News Network, because you need to know what's going on outside your front door.